Thank you, Ms. Dorsey. Mr. Zuckerberg.
Over the past year, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg has been repeatedly dragged before the U.S. Congress over numerous issues, including monopolistic behavior in acquiring the photo-sharing app Instagram.
And in a later email, you confirmed that one of the purposes of Facebook acquiring Instagram would be to neutralize a competitor. You wrote those emails that were mentioned in that House report. Is that right?
I believe so. And I've always distinguished between two things, though. One is that we had some competition with Instagram in the growing space of kind of camera apps and photo sharing apps. But at the time, I don't think we or anyone else viewed Instagram as a competitor, as a kind of large multi-purpose social platform.
3 weeks later, 48 U.S. state attorneys general filed a suit claiming that if a company stepped into Facebook's turf, Zuckerberg would go into destroy mode, and they'd have to face the wrath of Mark. That same day, the U.S. Federal Trade Commission filed a suit alleging that Facebook squelched competition by acquiring Instagram and instant messaging service WhatsApp, quoting a Zuckerberg email saying it is better to buy than compete.
And they're claiming that Facebook actually acquired these companies in the early 2010s because it wanted to kill off competition, not because it wanted to make services better for its users. But the problem is that the FTC is going to have to fight these big hypothetical arguments that consumers would have been better had these acquisitions not happened, which is tough because prices weren't increased. There's no price gouging that happened because all these services are free.
In a statement, Facebook's general counsel Jennifer Newstead called the lawsuits revisionist history, saying that their acquisitions of Instagram and WhatsApp were already reviewed by antitrust regulators at the time. Facebook's general counsel also accuses the U.S. Federal Trade Commission and states of standing by while the company invested billions of dollars and millions of hours of time into making WhatsApp and Instagram into what they are today. She says before the purchases, WhatsApp had very little presence in the U.S. and Instagram just 13 employees and no revenue.
The other thing that Facebook is going to have to argue is that, that these companies actually are much stronger when they're all together, and they can solve some of Facebook's biggest existential problems better when they're one giant company with economies of scale. You can imagine it might be harder for companies like WhatsApp and Instagram to fight election interference or misinformation if they didn't have all of Facebook's resources behind them.
Constine says if the lawsuits succeed, it could have a chilling effect on future acquisitions, but a legal victory won't come easy for government attorneys. He says the Federal Trade Commission is short-handed compared to Facebook, which pours millions of dollars into lobbying and has hundreds of lawyers who can fight lawsuits for years to come.
Digs to the goal line.
Mark News, CGTN, San Francisco.